Beloved Gnostic brothers and sisters, beloved brothers and sisters of the universal Christian Gnostic movements, brothers and sisters of the Summum Supremum Sanctuarium of the Sierra Nevada in Santa Marta, Colombia, South America. I am addressing you all. I want you to understand the critical moment in which we live. I want you to march with decisive steps on the path of the razor's edge. Remember that our motto or maxim is thelema, willpower. As the Apocalypse or Revelation of St. John, chapter 6, verses 12 to 17 states, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" My beloved brothers and sisters, one day while I was out of my physical body in the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I placed myself in transcendental mystical contact with the third aspect of Maha Kundalini, Proserpine, Hecate, Coatlicue, the Blessed Mother Death, terror of love and law. Then she took the floor in order to say, "Already everything is lost. The evil of the world is so great that it even reached the heavens. Therefore, Babylon the Great, mother of all types of fornications and abominations of the earth, will be destroyed, and from this perverse civilization of vipers nothing will remain, not even one stone upon another." I answered, "O mother of mine, then we are facing a dead-end alley." Some minutes of an imposing silence transpired, and the Adorable One exclaimed, "Do you want to make a business deal with me?" My answer was, "Yes, yes, yes." "It's agreed upon then. You open up the dead-end alley, and I will kill them." Such were her final words. Now it is clear that this business deal must be underway. So while we deliver the message for the new Aquarian era, she will terminate all of them. The word of the Divine Mother Nature is always accomplished. It is not irrelevant to mention with certain emphasis the million who died in Pakistan in the year 1970, or the 70,000 who died from an earthquake in Peru during that same year. Scientists from Columbia University have publicly informed us that a gigantic fault exists along the bottom of various oceans, which was the cause of diverse telluric activities of past years. Such oceanic faults form a fissure about 90,000 kilometers in length, with a middle width of 40 kilometers and an average profundity of 2.5 kilometers. Scientific information states that these oceanic faults stretch from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean and from the Antarctic Ocean to the Arctic Ocean. These faults surround the American continent as well as the Asiatic continent, thus leaving in the center of such a frightening ring of marine faults the entire Pacific Ocean. Beloved Gnostic brothers and sisters of mine, it is evident and manifest that these tremendous marine faults cited above have their fundamental base in the Antarctic polar cap, close to the South Pole. It is extremely intriguing that hot waters have been found precisely there. Hot water that is surrounded by the polar ice that is many degrees below zero. It is a fact that these oceanic cracks depart from Antarctica and continue on very close to Cape Horn, where they diverge into two principal fissures, one that goes towards the east and the other which goes towards the west. Opportunely, it has been informed to us that the Pacific Ocean's fissure follows a very sinuous trajectory, almost bordering the American continent along the coastlines of Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, Oaxaca, and Guerrero, Mexico, the Californian Gulf, and Seattle, Washington in the US, Vancouver, Canada, and Alaska. This oceanic fissure spreads in Alaska and continues its course along the Aleutian Islands. Another crack seems to pass through Alaska. The earthquakes in Fairbanks, Alaska, situated in the center of that peninsula, and the earthquakes in Taiwan have been very strong, such as the one that occurred in March 1964. It has been explained to us, and it has already been demonstrated, that the oceanic fissure of the Aleutian Islands goes towards Tokyo, Japan, dangerously touching the islands of Sapporo, Hokkaido, Oahu, Oahu, Kauailoa, and some others. We have learned with complete clarity that some secondary fissures depart from Japan and go towards Hawaii. There is no doubt that the main crack goes towards the Philippines and New Zealand, and from there it returns to its point of departure, situated in mysterious Antarctica. Thus, my beloved Gnostic brothers and sisters, in this way, a tremendously dangerous and terrible circle of apocalyptic characteristics are closed. It is good for you to carefully take note of all of these details. It is necessary for you to comprehend, to become cognizant of what of all of this signifies. Let us now talk a little bit about the fissures along the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. I beg you to pay very close attention to the following. We are absolutely sure that the Atlantic Fault seems to have its origin in the Norwegian Sea. The extremely enigmatic course of this Atlantic Fault passes by the coastline of Spain, Portugal, and northern Africa. This is something that should not surprise us in any way. We are absolutely sure that such an oceanic fissure ends close to the Portuguese Guinea. The fault from the east, the oceanic fissure that goes towards the eastern world, starts, as already stated, in mysterious Antarctica, and then passes in front of the Cape of Good Hope, Madagascar, and the Arabian Sea, ending in some unknown place within the Indian Ocean. Any judicious analytic study upon this system of oceanic fissures shows us in an evident and palmary way that the most dangerous oceanic fault is in the Pacific Ocean. There is no doubt that the Pacific crack will inevitably generate tremendous world cataclysms very soon. There is not a doubt that the lands which are most punished by earthquakes and seaquakes are precisely in the Pacific Ocean, that correspond in parallel to North America, Colombia, Asia. For instance, the Aleutians are located in a line approximately in the northern 50th parallel. Japan is located almost at the same parallel as San Francisco, California. It is intriguing, my dear brothers and sisters, that now the earthquakes are developing insidious in the Californian peninsula, causing damage especially to Los Angeles and other towns near there. Formosa, Taiwan, and the California Gulf are upon the Tropic of Cancer. The Philippines and Guatemala are located over the 32nd parallel. New Zealand and Chile are over the 42nd parallel. It should not surprise us that a connection exists between each fissure. It would not be unusual that the enormous crack that places in danger at this very moment the whole peninsula of California might be found intimately associated with the whole system of fissures of the Pacific Ocean. The sea is a cradle and grave of lands, islands, peninsulas, continents, etc. The different geological aspects of this world might look strong and stabilized. However, they can be totally transformed by means of a submarine system of cracks. We do not need to make suppositions. It is urgent, my dear brothers and sisters, to know that along these 9,000 to 10,000 kilometers of submarine cracks, in some places the crack has already reached the point of putting the fire of the interior of the earth in direct contact with the water of the sea. Therefore, in these moments, the igneous element of the interior of the wall is in agitation. Pressure and vapor increases from moment to moment. An unusual volcanic activity will intensify in the entire planet Earth. Obviously, in order to let loose these pressures and vapor, must look for a point of little resistance. Logically, my dear brothers and sisters, to let loose all of these pressures and vapors from the interior of this world in which we live, a search for the weakest point is performed. The earth is trembling. The earthquakes will intensify each time more and more, until the day in which the most resistant layers will explode. All the cities and towns of the world will become ashes, while falling like castles made out of decks of playing cards. And a very strange sound will come from within the depths of the oceans. It is written with words of fire in the book of the law that the number of dead will be as numerous as the grains of sand within the sea, and there will be no remedy. This world has entered into a great crisis, my dear brothers and sisters. You must comprehend this. Little by little, the entire earth will be covered by vapor. The planet Earth will enter into complete volcanic activity in many places. Craters will release deleterious vapors, ash, fire. The sky will be darkened, thus impeding the entrance of the solar light. The cold will become like a frightful freezer. The polar ices, dragged by tremendous tides, will navigate until reaching the equatorial zone, thus cooling the atmosphere and causing disorder in the air. Mortal hurricanes will terminate entire towns, torrential rains, tempests, etc. Obviously, it will be impossible to live under such circumstances. Thus, the Aryan root race, that is to say, our root race, will arrive at its apocalyptic end. The age of iron, in which we are presently, wisely coincides with the electrochemical cycle. This cycle started with the Greco-Roman culture and will conclude in the year 2500. The cataclysms of the end of Kali Yuga have already started. The Black Age will terminate in the frightful precipice. Dear brothers and sisters, let us listen to the words of our Lord the Christ. When you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that you be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. This is a long process, in which obviously we already are. The great Kabir Jesus stated, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Obviously, we are witnesses to all of this. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, terror and great signs in heaven. Dear brothers and sisters, an apocalyptic series of earthquakes has already started. There is hunger, and also known and unknown illnesses everywhere. Terror reigns and is frightful in various places. We already see extraterrestrial cosmic ships and sidereal phenomena as great signs in heaven. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of people with perplexity because of the sea and the waves roaring. Gigantic waves will furiously lash out at the beaches, and from within the profundities of the oceans a strange blare will sound. The atomic wars and the abuse of nuclear energy will produce the disintegration of the atom in sequence, and scientists will not be able to control atomic energy. The outcome of all of this will be frightful, because all the destructive potencies of nature will be unleashed, thus intensifying the seaquakes and earthquakes, and there will be no remedy. Verily, I say unto you, this generation, this root race, shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. All of these cataclysms, from the times of the end, will be sealed with a collision of worlds. Inevitably, the earth will violently crash against another planet. Only chaos, fire, and water vapor will remain after this apocalyptic event. Our world will pass through a gigantic transformation before being inhabitable again. The human seed will be saved with the purpose of creating the future great sixth root race that will inhabit a new earth. Peter, the great disciple of Jesus the Christ, said, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Then he continues saying, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Obviously, such new heavens and earth can only be possible after the gigantic cataclysm that is approaching. I am referring to the magnetic collision of worlds with which all of the world catastrophes will be concluded. Gigantic events are happening in these very moments, and as time passes, we will be surprised by many other events that will occur. It is necessary to know, my dear brothers and sisters, it is necessary to understand that we will be, and actually are, assisted. It is obvious that very special help is needed in order to save the human seed. Cosmic ships will come to the earth in order to save the children, those who really deserve it. They are being taken secretly already. There exist people from our Earth who live on other planets of our solar system. They, their seed, will be transported to our planet anew at precisely the time when the Earth will be ready for new life. It is also obvious, my dear brothers and sisters, that the majority of people have their time already used up. We have taught all of you that 108 existences are assigned to every soul. If a soul finishes with a cycle of 108 lives without having reached the intimate self-realization, then they enter into the submerged evolution within the infernal walls under the epidermis of the earth. Thus, this is how the souls are precipitated into the descending, devolving path. There, the souls have to recapitulate animal, plant, and mineral states. Then, after having passed through the second death, after having reduced the ego, the I, the myself, the itself to dust, the souls arise again to the surface. It is precisely under the sunlight, upon the surface of the planet, where new evolving processes will be initiated. These evolving processes have to forcefully start as a mineral, until eventually reaching the state of a human being. You already know this. You were already informed about it. Thus, let the former statement be not strange for you. The fact is that the majority of people have used up their time. Therefore, let it be not surprising for you if I tell you that the times of the end have already arrived. In these moments, millions of human beings are entering into the infernal worlds. And this is something that is known by all of the illuminated beings of our planet Earth and other planets in space. Therefore, these catastrophic events have to be inevitably precipitated. Obviously, when this happens, when the collision with that other planet happens, as I have already told you, is approaching us, people will have to live within the infernal worlds. Yes, that is where they will have to live during the time that such chaos endures. Afterwards, those souls will evolve, as already stated, from a mineral until eventually reaching the state of a human being. They will ascend through the vegetal and animal states to then reconquer the human state in order to form a new race. A race where the ego will not be developed. Wise people will govern this race. Then, the mysteries of Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, ancient China, etc., will return to earth. Everything will be processed little by little through time. The divine kings will return in order to govern their people. Then, let it not be strange for you that the future earth will have light and wisdom. However, the present moment is the critical moment, my dear brothers and sisters. These are terrible times. People of other planets of infinite space know the present state in which we are living. It is clear that they will assist us. However, only those who deserve it will be saved. Human beings from Ganymede will come and will teach us about the fourth dimension from a scientific point of view. We will also receive help from the blue galaxy. Human beings from the blue galaxy will tread on all the streets in town and cities. They will help us with the doctrine, teaching us so that we can understand it. The human beings from the blue galaxy offer great assistance to humanity in the past. Think for a moment, my dear brothers and sisters, about what the pyramids of Egypt are. It is obvious that these pyramids were not built by the Egyptians, as many people suppose, but by gigantic Atlanteans. Only thus can we explain to ourselves how such stones were transported through the desert. However, it is also true that the engineers who built such pyramids would have been assisted by other people. They were assisted by the human beings from the blue galaxy. Human beings from the blue galaxy were precisely those who came in marvelous ships that had the shape of red fish. They help Chaldea. They help Assyria, Persia, etc. Presently, my dear brothers and sisters, subterranean, submerged cities exist in the South Pole. Human beings from the blue galaxy live in them. They are willing to efficiently help us in an immediate or mediate future. It is also true and certain, my dear brothers and sisters, that subterranean, hidden cities exist there under the polar ice of the South Pole. Yes, do not become bewildered that these blue human beings, men with the color of the sky, have civilizations under the ice of the South Pole. What could we say about the North Pole? Survivors of the first root race still exist in the North Pole. Survivors throughout our history and who know the critical moment in which we are in. They too have subterranean cities. These are the glacial men, extraordinary human beings, men from the first age. Intelligent fish exist within the depths of the seas. They will be discovered within a short time. Dear brothers and sisters, we will also receive help from other galaxies. Wise human beings will come from the constellation of the 7 goats, who will dedicate themselves to cleanse the terrestrial atmosphere. They will study the infectious microorganisms because they know that a day will come when we will need their help. As I have already told you, we will receive from Ganymede not only the complete information about the 4th dimension, but moreover their support in other fields of science and wisdom. So, inhabitants from diverse planets of the infinite are ready to help us. If presently Russian and North American laboratories have been placed in orbit, it is also true that there are other types of cosmic laboratories in orbit. These are laboratories that were put into orbit by extraterrestrial people. Artificial blood is created in these laboratories, because the moment will arrive in which it will be necessary to have blood banks in orbit within the cosmos. Yes, people from other worlds are found ready to help us, even in the very field of medicine. Brothers and sisters, meditate upon all of this. Meditate and comprehend the terrible moment in which we are living. Thus, having profoundly understood all of this, knowing all of this, we must also comprehend the necessity of spreading Gnosis, the necessity of opening up the dead-end alley, of giving to everybody the wisdom so that they can escape from this horrible inferno in which we are in. The international Gnostic movements advance victoriously in all the fields of battle. Now nothing or no one can stop us in our luminous and triumphal march. Our movements have one only objective, that is, to initiate the new era of Aquarius within the august thunder of thought. Uranus is the regent of the constellation of Aquarius, and this is something profoundly significant, my dear brothers and sisters. Uranus governs the sexual glands, and this is why the Gnostic movements clearly teach the Sahaja Maithuna, sexual magic, which is the esoteric fundament of the new era. Uranus is also a primeval king of the submerged Atlantis, that which we can call Uranus, the primordial fire and the water that determined the first lumi-solar cult of the androgyny Io. Here is precisely where we find the root of the Chaldean astrotheurgy. This is why Uranus, the Asura Maya, the first Atlantean, is nothing but the first revealer of the sexual mysteries. The sacred mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is equivalent to the gods Sun, Moon, Phallus, Uterus, within which the marvelous clue of the great arcanum is found. Io Pitar is the sun, the phallus. Om Mani is the uterus, the moon. Om Mani Padme Hum is the lotus flower with its masculine and feminine poles submerged within the genesic waters of the first instant. Therefore, any type of teaching without the Sahaja Maithuna actually becomes extemporaneous for the new era of Aquarius. It is impossible to enter into the great mysteries of the White Lodge without the doctrine of Uranus, the Asura Maya, the first revealer. The Hebrew Kabbalists reveal the cubic stone of Yesod precisely in sex, in the creative organs. Thus, this is transcendental. It is obvious that this sephirotic stone was also analyzed by the great medieval alchemists. By all means, the famous philosophical stone of ancient sages is shown with complete, dazzling clarity. To edify is indispensable, my dear brothers and sisters, but it must be done upon the living stone, whose foundation is sex. To edify means to build, to construct, to erect, to raise, to put up, to make, etc. All the pseudo-occultist and pseudo-esoteric schools advise an edifying and essentially dignifying life. It is, however, unfortunate that they do not give the clue. They choose to ignore it. There are many types of builders. They are people from all the schools and creeds of the world that are dedicated to edifying. The cubic stone of Yesod, located by the Jewish rabbis in the sex, is fundamental in any authentic edification. Disgracefully, millions of builders reject it. Jesus the great Kabir said, "The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken." Matthew 21, 42-44. Peter, Patar, the great Hierophant, said, "Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on it shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe, it is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense." 1 Peter 2, 6-8. My dear brothers and sisters, this stone is precisely sex, a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. You know this. Millions are the builders who abhor it. All types of builders want to escape from sexual magic, saying, "Such a stone is the word." However, they do not want to realize that the base of the word is sex. Rare is the builder who is not searching for documents in order to justify his evasiveness. They want only to reject the cubic stone of Yesod. The revolutionary Gnostic movements do not want to discard the stone. We teach the mysteries of sex because we want to edify our interior temple upon the living stone, never upon the sands. We follow the fourth pathway, the marvelous path, the cross of alchemy. Remember, my dear brothers and sisters, that the cross is phallic, because the vertical beam is masculine and the horizontal is feminine. In the crossing of both is found the clue of all powers. The noble mission of unveiling the path and making it public for the first time in daylight is entrusted to us. There are some who say that there exist 3 paths. There are others who emphasize the idea of 7 paths. There are some who swear that the paths are 12. Nonetheless, we solemnly asseverate in the name of truth that only one path exists, and that is sex. Since everything rotates around sex, it is clear that the Gnostic movements are originating a true cultural, spiritual revolution in the entire world. Gnosis is the root of Christianity, my dear brothers and sisters. It is the living flame of Buddhism, the flame of the Quran, etc. Our doctrine opens up the dead-end alley so that we can take advantage of it, so that any person of goodwill can truly take advantage of it. Remember, my dear brothers and sisters, that our motto or maxim is telema, which is willpower. If someone says that another way exists besides sex, you can be sure that such a person is lying, because there is no other way. Fortunately, the sacred mission of unveiling the path has been entrusted to us. Everybody swears that they know the way. We affirm that the path is presently unknown by everybody in the profane world. We are going to unveil it, and this is what is significant. Those who believe that they know the way are mistaken, because we are going to deliver all of the data that exists about the way. Now you must comprehend your sacred mission, my dear brothers and sisters. You must understand it profoundly. Our movements advance victoriously, and you must be sure that nothing or no one will stop us in our luminous and triumphal march. My dear brothers and sisters, the hour in which we are in is indeed critical, in the most complete sense of the word. A transcendental vision that I had some time ago comes into my memory. I departed from my physical body, dressed with my astral body. Within the superior worlds of cosmic consciousness, a Guruji invited me to see the times of the end. Thus, what I saw, my dear brethren, was indeed frightful, terrible in a great manner. Wars and rumors of wars everywhere, terrifying wails all about, overcrowded hospitals, such horrendous things. I walked through the streets of a gigantic urban city. Then I found many automobiles, vehicles that moved about with the use of nuclear energy. These cars floated in the space at a very low altitude. This vision coincides exactly with the one experienced by Civil of Prague. It was similar. Then, my dear brethren, I saw a hollow tower of crystal that reached up to heaven. This was a living symbol of the Tower of Babel. The fact that it was made out of crystal signifies that it can be easily destroyed. It is a fragile tower, as you will witness in time. My dear brethren, distinct ships and rockets that moved about with nuclear energy were ascending and descending. I saw that one could buy a ticket in order to travel to the Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, to any planet of the solar system. I then thought to myself, this is the Tower of Babel already built. Here I speak within parentheses, my dear brethren, in order to tell you that the same thing happened in Atlantis. When the Tower of Babel was built, when one could transport oneself in any atomic ship to any planet of the solar system that one wished to, then a revolution of the axis of the Earth occurred, the seas came out of their orbit and swallowed up Atlantis. You know about this. It was the universal flood. Now, Putting aside this small digression, let us continue with our narration. My dear brethren, I then asked the Guruji, "Which year are we witnessing?" He answered, "The year 2500, meaning this is the final year of the electrochemical era, the final year of Kali Yuga." Then I entered, my dear brothers and sisters, inside the great laboratory, and I saw there the great potential terrestrial atomic energy symbolized or allegorized. It was an enormous giant lying on the ground, a living symbol of that great atomic potential. Scientists were trying to extract the nuclear energy from within the brain and heart of this giant. Nonetheless, they were afraid that the giant would awake and cause great damage. Yes, that giant, as I have told you, is sleeping. They knew that he was asleep. Suddenly, the Colossus finally awoke. Yes, the atomic potential of entire nature awoke. Thus, the decomposition of one atom in sequence happened and finished off the scientists and the entire world. The earthquakes were precipitated, and gigantic waves never seen before furiously lashed out at the beaches. Horrors were heard everywhere. Terrible things that are impossible to describe with words were seen. The radioactivity had completely taken out the phosphorus of the brains. Thus, the people seemed mad, without any control, and dramas never witnessed before were seen everywhere. While I was observing all of this, my dear brothers and sisters, I felt something unusual that was coming out from within the profound waves of the ocean. Then, far away, I saw the famous red planet, the one which the scientists talk about. Yes, I saw it. Such a planet comes navigating within the inalterable infinite, precisely in the direction of the world in which we live, meaning towards the earth. Thus, while that planet was approaching, it was becoming more and more gigantic. It looked like a radiant and terrible sun. Thus, the moment in which the planet covered the entire horizon arrived. Then I understood, my dear brothers and sisters, that this collision is inevitable. Thus, this is how I understood it. Then the collision happened. It crashed. Then nothing was seen. Only fire and water vapors, my dear brothers and sisters. Entire lands disappeared. The two planetary masses magnetically fused into one, and the waters of the seas of the earth and the seas of that planet fused together and overflowed terribly, inundating the entire planetary mass. Thus, everything that had life perished. Not a single city remained standing, my dear brothers and sisters. Thus, this is how the Kali Yuga finished. This is how it will end. During that mystic transcendental experience, I rise in my arms, I beseech, I implore the divine to allow me to see the future Jerusalem. Thus, I saw the future humanity. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, this is what awaits us, the future. It is clear that the selected human seed, the one that now is being taken to other worlds, will return to Earth, to that Earth of the future, to those new heavens and new lands. This is how the words of the prophets will be fulfilled with complete exactitude. The times that are awaiting us are therefore greatly terrible, my dear brothers and sisters. Therefore, I invite you to work intensely in the great work of the Father. You must open lumicials everywhere. We will reach the self-realization of the being by working for others, by helping, by working on ourselves with a hard stone, by transforming it into a cubic stone. Brothers and sisters, scientists have confirmed with complete exactitude the subject matter about that planet that will come to collide with our planet. News about this planet has been given everywhere. Thus, it has been published. There is a book where they talk precisely about the red planet. Scientists are preparing themselves with atomic bombs in order to push it away. They want to push this planet away, out of our orbit, based on atomic explosions. They calculate that such an event will occur around the year 2400. They do not have a precise date. We know exactly that such a fact will occur in the year 2500. We are therefore working, my dear brothers and sisters, to initiate the era of Aquarius. We are working in order to save what is possible, meaning those who allow themselves to be saved. This is why it is necessary that we shape our Gnostic movements and that we organize them each time better, that we establish the three chambers. Our Gnostic movements must have exactly three chambers. Each lumicial must have three chambers for the instruction of our students. Our Gnostic centers receive a name in a very pure language that flows like a river of gold, that runs under the thick jungle of the sun. That name is lumicials. Regarding the year 2500, however, the scholars cannot in any way ignore that in the Bible there is an extended narration of the journey that every great cyclic generation makes. Humanity is completely ripe for the supreme punishment. The end of this shameful humanity is near. The Kabbalistic analysis demonstrates that in the numbers 2, 5, 0, and 0, the secret of the great catastrophe is enclosed. Whosoever has understanding, let him understand, for there is wisdom therein. Unfortunately, people do not know how to comprehend the profound meaning of certain Kabbalistic numbers. Lamentably, they interpret everything literally. We must wait in cold blood for the supreme hour of punishment for many and of martyrdom for others.
This has been a lecture by the Venerable Master Samael Aun Weor, with an inclusion of an excerpt from his book, The Secret Doctrine of Anwak, explaining the meaning of the year 2500. Although he claims that these Kabbalistic numbers are not supposed to be taken literally, instructors at Vancouver Dharma and Gnosis have confirmed in meditation that the year 2500 is very close to the exact century when the anticipated strike of Hercolubus, Nibiru, the red dwarf star known as Bernard's star will occur. Although scientists' estimated measurements of the star don't match with Master Samael's description of the star's size, Samael clarifies that the planet's collision with and devastation on Earth will primarily occur in the fourth dimension. Those who are familiar with these esoteric studies are aware that although the collision will occur in the fourth dimension, this does not negate the potential devastating effects on the physical planet.